I just spent the last hour trying to record this video. And like there's a younger version of myself that is kind of like screaming inside of me that's like, "Hey, you couldn't get it on the first try. The outside is very loud right now. Like we live near a set of train tracks that almost never get used. But today, as I sat down and pressed the record button, a train decided to roll up. It's like one of those little railroad switches that's like a little side road thing. I don't even know what the fuck they do there. All I know is that every once in a while, so infrequently that I often forget we live near train tracks, but every once in a while, a train just kind of like slowly rolls up. You can hear it, like all the metal grinding, and you can hear the horn. And today the conductor was like, "I'm a train horn expert, and I want the song of my people to be heard by everybody." And so he's just going to town on that thing. And then the wind is as loud as it could possibly be. It's like all the environmental variables get cranked up to 1,000 when I decided I wanted to record something. And then, of course, in the middle of what was a decent take, my phone's like, "Hey, my battery is dying." And I'm like, "Why aren't you charging? You're plugged into a computer." And it's like, "I don't know. But I don't trust this thing. I don't trust this computer that you've had for almost 5 years." The point is that I can hear that younger person inside of me screaming, like, "Stop doing this. Quit while you're ahead. Because you couldn't get it on the first try, because you haven't fully thought this through, because you don't have full control over all of the environmental variables, that you can't control the sound around you. You don't have the best equipment. You don't have a soundproof recording studio to be in where you can just kind of like riff into the void. It's not worth trying." Which stands in direct contrast to like what I was saying a year and a half ago when I first started making these videos, where I was like, I'm just gonna be messy. I'm just gonna be messy. I'm just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna like create out in the open and see, how this goes, and show that like the creative process isn't something that is like 100% perfect all the time. In fact, it isn't perfect by definition. Creativity is like an expression of humanity. We are imperfect beings, so we can't possibly create a perfect piece of art. And yet, I can't shake that part of me. Not completely. Like everything I do right now, especially in the last few years, has felt like an act of rebellion against this voice inside of me that is telling me to stop. And I've also, I think, created the best art that I have in my life in the last few years. Like I've been more proud of what I've accomplished in the last year and a half since I made the last video than I have in the 38 years that I've been here. And that feels great to say. And I've been wanting to get back and like create more of these videos because I thought it was a cathartic experiment. I thought it was, nice to kind of like have another outlet and have something that doesn't feel it doesn't feel as polished. I know some people like would probably really think and are probably clicking out of this video right now like, "Hey, you should write a script. You should have more coherent thoughts before you click the record button." But I really believe that the messiness is key to the authenticity here. That I can't just sit here and refine and refine and refine and refine endlessly until something is without flaw, that's so polished down, sanded down to this sort of like mirror polish that it just like it ceases to be reality anymore. And so, yeah, I'm finally back here. I don't really know where this is going to go, but I know that I want to make more of these. And I feel, I don't know, compulsion sounds so dramatic. But like, I do feel I have things to say. I want this process to be out in the open. And I want it to like, if there's any chance that it helps other people, I want it to be there. So if somebody else needs to hear, like, it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to just kind of like do stuff and be seen doing stuff. Like, you don't have to sequester yourself away into this little, this little cubby hole and toiling away in secret until you're ready to unveil everything. Like, I've felt so accomplished in just being messier, like I said, and especially in the last year and some change, than I have with my creative presence my entire life. There's something so invigorating to just putting yourself out there. Like, in the last year and a half, I decided to rebuild my website. I was on Squarespace, and then Squarespace got bought out by a private equity firm, and I was like, that doesn't bode well. And so I decided I'm going to like learn a little bit of HTML and CSS. And so I took a couple weeks, I don't know, a few days to like go through some Code Academy courses, learned HTML and CSS enough to build my website from scratch. And then over the course of a few weeks, kind of like went through multiple iterations in that process until I have something that I'm really happy with. It's not perfect. It's not like the sort of like end all sort of, it wasn't part of my, like a complete representation of my vision, but it's mine. It's not on Squarespace. It's faster. And it gave me a new skill. I'm a web developer now, not professionally. I don't want to go there yet. The point is that process was out in the open. It still is messy. And it gets to be that. It gets to be a representation of me. It gets to be a place that I own, that I really love. And I think the art that I create needs to be that. Whether it is a fun little video that I put up on YouTube that you're watching right now, or voiceover work that I do, or writing that I do, or the photos that I post. Like, I am never going to be someone who niches down, like I think that's something that we hear so frequently. If somebody wants to be a content creator, just makes my blood curdle, like that phrase. But when people try to go down that path, people are like, you have to find your niche, find your niche, whatever pronunciation you want to use. And you just kind of have to work your way, like weasel your way into that and do only that. Because you need to build an audience around that tiny little part of you. However, strongly you feel about it in the first place. And I just would rather die. I would rather just crawl into a hole and wither away and decompose, completely forgotten, never to be thought of again. And as I say that, I'm like, God, that feels good. Like, that feels so good to just be able to say, I am not going to conform. And not in a sort of like, I'm never going to sell out, man. Like, it just feels so nice to give myself permission to say, I want to make what I want to make. If it's photos, 1 week. If it's videos, another. If it's writing, another. If it takes me 6 months to write an essay, that's okay. I'm still, my time is still worthy, my vision is still worthy, my creative process is, and what I eventually put out there is still worthy. So that feels like a good way to come back to this, of being able to tell myself, like, hey, like, just do it. Like, just, I know I said that, I think I said that in the first video, like, just start. And this is proof that you just kind of have to, if you're, if you're afflicted with the same malady that I am, that is telling you, like, be perfect all the time, you will have to continuously reiterate no. And you will have to continuously do. And look that critic in the face and be able to tell yourself and whoever else might be trying to shit on your dreams, like, I am not going to do that. It is okay that I'm here. So yeah, I'm going to make more videos. I don't know what the plan is other than that. And I think that's fine. I think if I give myself permission here to make videos and enjoy it and just kind of like put stuff out there that isn't polished, that inevitably I will get better. And if it's true to me and who I am and what I stand for and what my values are, that it will connect with other people. And that's the important thing to me. I'm not going to pause the recording because that car just drove by. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.